The fire crackled, shadows danced. Old Man Misha spoke, his voice low and rumbling like distant thunder.
The Wendigo haunts the western woods.
His eyes deep and knowing fixed on Nokomis, a young hunter eager to prove himself.
Beware, Nokomis. The Wendigo preys on the greedy, the hungry.
Nokomis, strong and proud, shrugged off the elder's warning. He feared no creature, not even the mythical Wendigo. Winter had gripped the land, food was scarce. The village depended on its hunters. Nokomis, determined to bring back food, ventured into the western woods. The forest stood silent, cloaked in snow. The air hung heavy, thick with a strange, unsettling stillness. The wind whispered through the trees, carrying a faint sound. A voice? It seemed to call Nokomis's name. Was it his imagination? The voice grew louder, more insistent. It sounded like his brother, long gone, lost to the forest years ago. Nokomis pushed forward, his heart pounding in his chest. He had to know. Was it truly his brother's voice? The voice seemed to lead him deeper into the woods, away from the familiar trails. The forest grew darker, the trees closing in like a cage.
Nokomis.
The voice called again, closer now, filled with a chilling desperation. Nokomis broke into a run, his breath catching in his throat. He burst into a clearing, his eyes scanning the shadows. And then he saw it. A towering figure, skeletal and gaunt, stood before him. Its eyes blazed with an unnatural light, a terrifying red that pierced the twilight. Its skin, stretched taut over bones, was the color of death itself. The creature opened its maw, a grotesque grin splitting its face. A stench of decay, of rot and hunger filled the air. This was no spirit. This was the Wendigo.
Nokomis, so hungry.
Terror gripped Nokomis' heart. He knew the legends. The Wendigo fed on human flesh, on the darkness in men's hearts. This creature, this monster, had lured him here with the voice of his brother, twisting his love, his grief against him. Nokomis stumbled backward, his hand reaching for the hunting knife at his side. But fear, paralyzing and cold, rooted him to the spot. He couldn't move, couldn't breathe. The Wendigo took a step closer, its long, sharp claws scraping against the frozen ground. Its eyes, burning with an insatiable hunger, locked onto Nokomis. And then, as quickly as it had appeared, the creature vanished. The forest stood silent. The voice was gone.
I need to get back to the village.
Nokomis, trembling, staggered back to the village. The journey felt like a lifetime. His mind raced, replaying the encounter, the voice, the horrifying visage of the Wendigo. He had been spared, but at what cost?
Nokomis, what happened to you?
He stumbled into the village, his eyes wide with terror. The villagers gathered around him, their faces etched with concern. He tried to speak, to tell them what he had seen, but the words caught in his throat. He saw their faces change as they looked at him. Their concern shifted to fear, to a chilling recognition. He caught his reflection in a frozen puddle. His face. It was changing. A grayish pallor had crept over his skin. His eyes, once warm and full of life, now flickered with an unsettling hunger.
What is happening to me?
He had been marked by the Wendigo. He had escaped with his life, but the creature's presence lingered within him, a growing darkness he couldn't shake. Nokomis knew he could never be the same. He was forever bound to the creature that haunted the western woods. The Wendigo hadn't taken his flesh, but it had taken something far more precious, his peace, his soul. Old Man Misha watched Nokomis from across the fire, a deep sadness in his eyes. He saw the fear, the chilling transformation, the mark of the Wendigo. That night, he gathered the children around the fire.
What happened to Nokomis, Old Man Misha?
"Listen closely, little ones," he began, his voice a low murmur. "The Wendigo walks among us. It preys on our greed, our hunger, our darkest desires."
The Wendigo, is it real?
He told them of Nokomis' encounter, of the creature's chilling voice, its insatiable hunger.
What can we do?
The Wendigo is more than a monster, he warned. It is a spirit, a warning. It reminds us to be wary of our desires, to control the darkness within ourselves, lest it consume us. The children listened, their eyes wide with fear. The legend of the Wendigo, a tale whispered on the wind, would live on, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurked in the hearts of men and in the shadows of the western woods.